Hello everyone, and welcome to another video. This video is meant for new players, and this video are the things I wish I knew before I started playing Star Wars: The Old Republic. So this video is geared towards completely new players who have just started playing this game, and I'm going to give them some tips which I wish I had known when I had just started playing this game. So as you can see, I'm on a level 10 character here on a new server, and I'm just going to begin to list out the things. So listen carefully. The first thing I wish I knew is right from the start when you started playing this game, join a guild. Generally what that means is just in your general chat, type in looking for a guild, or as you can see, as on this completely new character, I just went to some random person who had a logo like this over here. You can see from this character right underneath him, it says the Dark Throne Legacy here, Masters of the Dark Side. As you can see, it has those little arrows, side arrows there, so that means this is a guild. And so this guy is part of that guild. So if I wanted to join that guild, all I need to do is just whisper him and ask him if I can join his guild. And normally people want you to join the guild, so it's very easy to join one. And the reason you want to join one as quick as possible is because you get an experience boost and an experience bonus, and that can be really useful. You can have an experience bonus of up to 10%, considering which is based upon how many members are in your guild. So ideally, you'd want it plus 10% experience bonus, which can really help you out when you're leveling. And you also get a reputation bonus. So I think that would be my first tip. You'd want to join a guild as quickly as possible. Don't reach level 20, level 30 without having joined a guild, because you're just leveling up slower than you need to. The second tip I would have is use experience boosts. Now, these are complimentary experience boosts. You get them at the start of the game. You can get them throughout. You can even buy some off the GTN and the Galactic Trade Network, and I would suggest using these, because all throughout when I was first playing this game, I'd always save them up. I'd be like, oh, maybe I don't want to use them now, maybe I'll use them later. And what ended up happening was you get so many throughout the game that they just rack up, and you end up reaching the max level that you can on a character and having just a bunch of these sitting around. So once again, this is just an instance in which you're leveling up slower than you need to for no apparent reason. So as you can see, this one lasts for 1 hour. So if you know you're gonna be playing for an hour, I would suggest just using it when you're leveling, so that you're using up your experience boosts. The other tip I would have is use these experience boosts effectively, and I have a video whose link is in the description below, which shows how you can use these more effectively. And the basis is, instead of using it before you start doing missions, you do 3 missions, you have the reward sitting here, and then that's when you use the experience boost. Because actually, if you use it then, the experience boost applies to those missions you already did, so you're saving up more time. And when you have these in limited quantity, like I only have 2 right now, for example, you don't want to just be using them and wasting them. So if there's a more effective way to use them, I would suggest doing that. So once again, if you didn't understand what I said, the link is below in the description that has a video explaining it in more depth. The next tip I would give is do flashpoints to get the dailies. And the flashpoints are essentially, you go into group finder queue here, and you can queue for a flashpoint. And the flashpoint is just a mission that you do with a bunch of other people. Generally, they're pretty difficult, but if you have a group of players who knows what they're doing, you can easily get them done. And as you can see here, you get rewards. These are common data crystals, for example, which you can use to buy good gear. I would suggest doing them, because I never did them as I was leveling up, and as a result I missed out on 3 things. The first thing I missed out on was, once again, these rewards. I didn't end up having a lot of common data crystals, and as a result I couldn't get like the best gear. I was often having to just go with having half good gear, half bad gear. I'm going to go into more detail later in this video about how to use these properly. But I was missing out on those. The second thing I was missing out on was experience. These flashpoints have so many enemies. Every time you kill an enemy, you get a certain amount of experience. So I was missing out on a lot of experience that I could have been getting, and I could have leveled up way faster. And the third thing you end up missing out on are the story. The storylines of these flashpoints can be really interesting and really intriguing. And I ended up missing out on them because I didn't really know that I should be doing them. And as a result, I missed out on these really cool storylines. And if you do the flashpoints properly in chronological order, like right now as a level 10, if I just joined and did this flashpoint, then then the next flashpoint would become available a few more levels later, and I could follow along with the story properly, and that would have made this experience a lot more fun. Okay, the next one is a really good tip, and often new players are always confused about which mount to buy. So after you hit, if you're a subscriber, after you hit level 10, or level 15. And if you're a free-to-play player, it's after you hit level 25, you can get a mount. And often a lot of people will be running around the fleet and they'll get these really ugly mounts from vendors because those are the ones that BioWare kind of gives players. You still have to pay like 25,000 or something credits for them, but they're really ugly. What players often don't know is you can go to the auction house, the Galactic Trade Network, and if you put in here mount, and you just go search, and then you can, and obviously there are really expensive ones, there are less expensive ones, but if you go, if you arrange it by price and you go to the lowest price, you can find that there are mounts here that are really cheap. For example, this is a mount, you can get it for 10,000 credits. You want to be looking for cartel market mounts. So a cartel market mount will have this emblem here and it will say cartel market item at the top. These have been crafted by a certain player or have been bought from vendors, and these are the ugly ones I'm talking about. And they still want you to pay quite a few credits for them, but you can get way nicer mounts that are GTN mounts. Like for example, these mounts here, which are just nicer, and they often you can get them for very cheap as well. So a lot of players don't know that you can just come to the auction house here and pick up these mounts for very cheap, and they're cartel market item mounts, and oftentimes they look a lot nicer and they're a lot more fun to use when you're leveling up. Another thing players don't know is armor. A lot of times you'll be caught in the trap of, oh, I'll just let mobs drop armor, or maybe I'll buy armor. What people don't know is if you go into armor here, and you go into the subcategory of adaptive armor, and the rarity is custom, and then once again you can arrange your results by price. And as you can see here, you can get armor sets for very, very cheap. Like for 1,000 credits you could get gloves. And this is adaptive armor. So as you can see, the armoring slot, the mod slot, the enhancement slot, and the die module slot are all open. That means you can open up this piece of armor and you can insert the mods in. And you get those mods from vendors using those common data crystals. I'll show you where those are later. But right now I'm just saying you can buy these really cheap armor pieces right off the GTN. And oftentimes, once again, this armor will look a lot nicer than the ones that you get just from enemies dropping them, or from your rewards for doing missions. These will often look a lot nicer. They're a lot cheaper, and once again, they'll be a lot more fun to use. Like for example, just this helmet here. Right off the bat, you can tell it looks pretty cool, and it's very cheap, and it's adaptable. You can insert the mods however you want. And so, yeah, go on our servers, check out the Galactic Trade Network, see which armor sets and armor pieces you can afford. Ideally, right from the bat, you just want to equip your character with all this open armor slots here, adaptive armor, which has all these slots open, and then you can start putting in the mods as you level up and as you get more. The next tip I would suggest you guys do is always send your companions on crafting missions. So right now, I don't have any, my companions, I don't have any crew skills. However, as you can see, it says C crew skills trainer. So if I go to the vendors, if I go to the strongholds and crew skills, as you can see, there are crew skill train. They're gonna be crew skill trainers all around there. Okay, I guess I have to go there. They're not gonna show up on my screen here. But there we go, vehicles. But yeah, so essentially they have crew skill trainers, and you can pick up crew skills from them. And those crew skills are a great way to make credits. As you and generally you'll be making the most credits when you're high level. But the point of this is if you start sending your companions on crew skill missions when you're a low level, then you'll have a very high crew skill. So for example, I've picked up the crew skill scavenging. As you can see, here's my crew skill. It's at 1 out of 500, which is a really low level. You're going to be getting really bad materials from this. They're not going to sell really well on the Galactic Trade Network, or they're not going to be very useful when you're crafting items. So what you want to do is you want to say, for example, send her on a mission, send him on a mission, and now as they go and complete that mission, my level is going to go up. And what that means is I'll be able to unlock better materials, which are going to be more expensive when you're selling them, or which can be used to make better armor sets, which once again you can sell for more credits on the Galactic Trade Network. And the point of this is do them when you're a lower level, because then as you become a higher level, your scavenging will be a higher level as well, and so you'll be able to make a lot more credits. If you didn't do them, like I didn't do them when I was a lower level, I didn't really care much about doing crew skills. As a result, I had like a level 55 character, and then I had to start from scratch and send all my companions on missions and wait for them to finish and then send them on more missions just to get my level up. But if I had done it when I was a lower level, then I would have been able to have just a 500 out of 500 crew skill right away, and I would have been able to start making my credits right away. And so finally, I'll end this video with showing you guys how to get good gear. So I'm gonna go to basically as you progress in the game, you're gonna be getting these common data crystals. You get them as rewards from doing missions. You get them you can even get them from drops from mobs. When an enemy dies, they could drop some and you can pick them up. And those are used to buy gear. This is the #1 best way to gear up your character. And as I said, you buy those mods, which are just little things that you insert into your armor pieces, and they increase the stats of your armor. They increase the amount of damage you can do, the amount of damage you can take. The vendors for those mods are right here on the fleet. You can also find them on your planets, but if you're on the fleet, I would just suggest coming to the fleet to gear up. As you can tell, there are different levels. So here's a level 10 modification vendor. So if you're a level 10 like me, you can come to this modification vendor and buy them. And as you can see, they cost common data crystals. So I can buy the enhancement, I can buy the mod, and I can buy the armoring. I can buy barrels for my gun or hilt for my lightsaber. And all of these come with a certain statistic. These are just the best way to gear up your character. I would suggest not buying anything from the Galactic Trade now for credits. The best thing to do is just use your common data crystals to buy these modifications. So let's say, for example, if I had bought this, then I could insert it into my adaptive armor piece. And as a result, my armor pieces would go up in their statistics, would be better for use in leveling, and I would be able to kill mobs quicker and complete my missions faster. So as you can tell, I have my level 10 modification vendor here. I have my level 22 modification vendor here. So if I was level 22, for example, I'd come to him and I would buy this, and this is better. These are better mods. They have better statistics than those, and that's because they're for a higher level character. So when you want to gear up, you come here and you do them, and you get them from here. And it's very important to keep gearing up your character by buying these modifications, because you actually will start failing your missions. You won't be able to defeat bosses. You won't be able to defeat mobs really quickly because you don't have the best gear. So as for example, when I'm level 10. You buy the mods from this guy. When you hit level 14, don't just continue doing your missions. Come here and gear up so that you can do your missions quicker and you won't fail as many times. So those are my tips. So that's my list of kind of the things I wish I knew. There are probably more, and if you have a good tip you'd want to give, just leave it in the comment section. If you have a question, just leave it in the comment section as well. I always answer. I hope this helped. See you next time.